Okay, welcome again. So let's get started with our presentation today. Uh, Today we will discuss about the current COVID-19 situation in Peru, the impact it has had on the mining and resources sector, and also Peru's mining sector performance in 2020, an outlook of a short-term outlook for 21 and 22. We will discuss about some important mining projects, and of course we will share a calendar of our next events. As I told you, we have some great guest speakers for today. Uh, you can see the list here. First of all, I would like to introduce you to Mrs. Ivonne Villafana. Ivonne Villafana joined TIQ just recently, just past Monday, as a mining consultant in Peru. So Ivonne has past experience with some Australian companies, specifically with RPM Global, Ranji Pinco Caminarco, and recently with Whittle Consulting. So please welcome Ivonne. She will be working out of Lima, supporting TIQ's efforts on providing opportunities for our METS companies. Uh, Today we also have Emilio Gómez de la Torre. Emilio is a great ally for TIQ in Peru. He is the CEO of Linkminers. He will share some real opportunities and challenges that are occurring today in the mining industry in Peru. And finally, Luis Rivera will provide valuable information about the mining market in Peru. Luis is currently the Executive Vice President of the Americas for Goldfields and also the past president of the Peruvian Mining Engineers Institute. So welcome to our speakers, and we look forward to a great session today. We will start with Ivonne, who will provide information on the current COVID-19 situation in Peru. Ivonne, please go ahead.
Thank you, William. Good morning to everyone. Well, last year, COVID-19 changed the world, and Peru was not the exception. Peru was hit hard by this virus. Just to have an idea, Peru's population is estimated around 33,000, 33 million of people. And up to date, we are reporting 1,003,038 cases and 46,894 deaths. And in an average of 14 days, we have more or less around 6,642 cases and around 200 deaths per day. And as well as the other governments, the Peru government has followed the recommendation of the World Health Organization and implement a program with some restrictions by regions. Currently, the flights are allowed here in Peru, but requires a PCR test and some days of quarantine. Well, the already vaccination has started in Peru. We are in the first phase with vaccination for health workers that are in front line. And well, the objective of Peru is to vaccinate 80% of the population is the objective, and they are working on that. But last year, Peru healthcare has been challenged as never before, and there were strict quarantine measures that were taking place. Next, please. Well, here in Peru, the mining industry has adopted some health and safety measures to protect their workers. Due as our health system was not so robust as other countries of this region, Peru has strict measures. Some people have to go down to the cities, withdraw most of the workforce. Non-essential personnel contractors were sent down home. There were some charter flights and buses to the mine site, and especially in those areas where high infections, they require a PCR testing and accompanied by a hotel stay. And all the workers where they live in the mine site have to take a test to confirm that the worker is living without COVID. So this situation makes the mining companies invest in more spaces for camps, for dining facilities, and medical services. Uh, in technology, well, many of technology suppliers came with some thermal cameras, application to and monitors COVID and risk exposure. Uh, well, as far as we know, according to the health ministry, 3% of the total workers in the mining industry have tested positive for COVID last year. This includes suppliers too. Next, please. Well, the Peruvian government on March 15 last year declared the countryside wide stay at home, and everyone has to stay at home. The largest mining operations have to reduce their activity, and they decide to suspend the non-critical works up to 3 months and provide a greater certainty to planning a safe and responsible restart. But all these affect the production, especially the copper production in Peru that's reduced. And if, according to a crew investigation and studies, 80% of the tons were stood for Peru in comparison for other countries like Canada, Mexico, and in Chile. So it was hit a lot. And those restrictions produces some losses between 5 billion and around $6 billion. So just to have you an idea, the Peruvian mining GDP comprises 50% of copper, 30% of gold, and other metals such as zinc, silver, and tin. Well, all this all this pandemic has already passed, and we are in the second wave, and things have changed, and we are just returning to pre-pandemic production levels. Mining companies have already super been another stage. Well, in April 29, the Peruvian government announced a 4-stage reactivation plan designed to open up this economy gradually. In the first phase, we have the large-scale open pit mining and the construction projects. In the second phase, we have large-scale but underground mining, medium-scale open pit, greenfield exploration, and base camps. In phase 3, we have medium-scale underground mining, greenfield exploration, but without camps. And now in the fourth phase, we have the activation of the rest of the mining activities. All this impact in the mining industry has presented some challenges and opportunities. For example, COVID measure, technologies, PPA, uh, some systems to improve efficiency and work rosters. Also, uh, something that is special to Peru is that here we need to engage communities that are near project operation with mining. This is an important for all the METS or consulting firms that can help from a technical approach to obtain social alliances. Some projects has put in standby because of this conflicts with the communities here. And we have also some requirement that we have identified involving 4.0 technologies that refers to remote operation, remote monitoring, environmental monitoring, some sensors to precise control of mining cycle, and also blockchain to track the supply chain, and especially the to automate underground mines communication system. For example, the topographic measurement that are using drones where there is no signal of GPS, and robots for extraction process in those veins that are very narrow. And the autonomous systems will be also required in the future, and it will be easier to adapt to new projects because they're built in that sense, and it will be more complex for operations.
Okay, Yvonne,
Thank you.
thanks so much for that update. So it was great. Please don't forget that if you have any questions, you can put them in the Q&A sections, and we will address them at the end of the presentation. We wanted to include an outlook, a short-term outlook on the industry in Peru for this year and next year. There is a lot of information on these couple of slides, next 2 to 3 slides. They overlap a bit on what Luis has wanted to present. So I will go pretty fast over this next 3 slides. Remember, we will share this presentation with you so you can review it in detail. But the industry in Peru will grow. There are some projections that it will grow by 14% in the mining sector, and the economy in Peru is expected to grow more than 10% with an outlook, and mainly driven by the high prices of commodities. Currently, there are 5 big projects under construction. We put these 5 projects in because they are the nearest to start construction or already in construction, but the nearest to begin production. You will see a detail of that in this presentation. And some projects have been halted due to different reasons, but the numbers involved in these projects are pretty impressive. And some of them halted because of environmental issues, social issues, but we expect that with the support of experts, these projects will come off the ground. And again, the gold and silver prices and copper and lead and zinc, they will drive a faster start of all these projects. Another thing to keep in mind, and that is of interest of all of you, is last year, Australia signed a free trade agreement with Peru. It is called the Peru-Australia Free Trade Agreement or the PAFTA. And Brendan will share more information about that free trade agreement and what it means to you in a link in the chat section. So Brendan, please, if you are so kind to do that.
No problem.
Yes. And here we wanted just to summarize the portfolio of mining projects. Peru, in last year in November, they reported a mining investment portfolio of close to 56 million US dollars. Here you can see in percentages where they are. Some projects are in pre-feasibility, so that's 48% of them, 30% in feasibility, 7% detail engineering, and 15% already in the construction stage. So again, we will share more details of this on our website and by email. And then again, by type of mines, of all those projects, 28 are open pit projects, 12 underground projects. There are 3 that have a combined open pit and underground operation, and one of them still to be defined. So a lot of valuable information that I don't want to go into too many details because Luis will address that in his part of the presentation. In our next chapter, again, I introduced Emilio from Linkminers. I will leave the next chapter up to Emilio. He will explain what Linkminers is, how it works, and their current challenges they are running today in the industry. So, Emilio, I will stop sharing and leave it up to you.
Okay, thank you, William. First of all, thanks for TIQ for the invitation. For me, it's a pleasure to be here making this presentation. And also send my regards to Ivonne and for Lilis Rivera, that is going to be an honor to be sharing this presentation with him. I will share my screen right now. Okay, thank you. Well, first of all, I saw some of the attendance list, and maybe a couple of suppliers know what is Linkminers, but we are a company, a Peruvian company, that we are boosting the future of mining, generating opportunities for all. For all, we mean the big suppliers, the small suppliers, but also the mining functionaries that are also making scouting around the world, trying to search for the best solutions for their challenges and their needs. How this work? Our value proposition is that we connect the mining functionaries with the right suppliers at the right time through our digital platform. Currently, the platform on the basic and traditional way works like this. We have a miner worker that has an operational challenge or have some needs to look for solutions, and they publish these needs, this business opportunity, this challenge in anonymously way. The miner suppliers look for these opportunities, and if they have a right solutions for them, they send the solutions. It comes back to the mining worker. For sure, they will check it, and if they are interested, they will make the match. The match is what we call the magic moment, when they share the contacts and there's a business opportunity on the table to go with deeply conversations in order to explain a little more about the solution, the technology, or it will depend on the mining worker, even go to commercial issues, normally if there's a logistic guy on the conversation. Just to bring you a business case example, this is one of the first challenge that it finished in a sale. This mining company, from the big mining companies from the copper at the center of the country, put this dust removal on the open pit roads for the trucks. They were looking at the beginning for some nebulizers cannons. We make the scouting. We found around the world 5 solutions. From these 5 solutions, the mining company make a match for 3 of them. And after that, we finish our traditional model. These 3 companies start some stage of meetings and negotiations just with the mining company, not with us. And at the end of the day, they select one supplier and they implement the solutions, but through the mining company standards for sure. So we are making this matchmaking, again, between the challenge and the solutions. And we are trying to hack in this mining industry through open innovation. We have a digital platform, and this open innovation approach is to get the best solutions from the mining users, and for sure from your side, from the METS, are business opportunities around the world, starting in Peru for sure. This is our Linkminers suppliers map that we are growing. We are trying to make some important alliances with institutions that promote the suppliers, the METS, like TIQ. But I think this is the slide that is more interested for you. Currently, we're working with more than 40 companies in any type of approach. For sure, there are some mining companies that we make a different type of, a more deeply approach, a more deeply type of project. But at least in the traditional way, the anonymous matchmaking, we're working with some of these companies that you could see on the screen. Normally, this is a 2019 data insight, but for 2020, it's almost the same. 60% of the mining challenges that are published in our platform are from the big mining companies. So I guess from Australian technologies could be better this type of challenges for you. Continue with the data from the 2019. This type of process are the ones that have more interested from our early adopters on the platform. We have the transfer of materials with the trucks, with the shovels. For sure, the crushing and grinding that are always looking for solutions for improving the process. Underground extraction process. Here we have challenges from connectivity, ventilation. We are going to see a little bit more in the next slide. Different types of challenges or opportunity on the concentrator plant. And well, I think these are the main topics. The interesting here is the approach that the mining users are taking from the suppliers. 50% and for 2020 is 60% of the solutions that have a digital component are better received than the ones that have no digital component. For the 2019, the smart sensors, that bank analytics and machine learning models, and for sure the connectivity and platforms to integrate all the data. First, were the more common solutions that are kept interested from the mining users. So this is just to bring you a big pictures of how the industry 4.0 is really going inside of all the needs that currently we have on the mining users in Peru. For this big approach of the data of our challenges, we make that there's a tendency of opportunities for the METS in the Peruvian operations, because all of these challenges by now are from Peru. And we select 4 main segments. No? The underground operations, and I mentioned before, connectivity, visibility, safety issues are really needs. And we are also receiving some challenges that are required, like artificial intelligence with visual visualization, others that are more related to how to connect the data from the underground equipments to the online monitoring equipments of the plant or other parts. Then we have the process and equipment online monitoring. It applies for all, open pit, underground, the plant, the shovels, the trucks. These are like, everybody is looking for that, how to implement, how to monitor these special issues that they are having, to avoid incidents, to have a better control of their productivity. The other 2 segments, the metallurgical process, some mining companies have a really well recuperation index, but they are also always trying to look for the perfection, like try to say for that, or trying to use some reactives that are that have less impact on the environment. And for sure, the last one that I let in purpose is the data driving efficiency, machine learning, data analytics process, digital twins, artificial intelligence. It's starting to fire here in Peru, but these type of challenges are really common in all type of mines and on all type of process. So if you have how to make an automatization, how to improve an IoT process, how to bring eyes where the people are on the remote area, if you could include also the data component, it will be nice for you. About 2019 and 2020, the opportunities that we're recovering are especially on the mining core process, as the previous slide that I mentioned before, but are also a smart mining, as we call it, where it doesn't matter with which part of the process, they are looking for IoT, for mining 4.0. And the sustainability is also important. There are challenges from the environmental side, from the social communities approach, and they are starting to look how the industry 4.0 solutions play with that type of challenge also. And this is more common in 2020. They have more impact than the previous year. And I think COVID-19 for sure, it's one of the main important reasons of that. Well, currently, what we have open for you on our platform, we have 5 challenges that are currently open. I invite you to go to the platform and look at these opportunities. And if you have any question, you could go with William, and William will make in contact directly with us. But as you could see, there are different type of challenges. The first one about how to make a dual fuel for diesel and gas for different type of engines on the plant are also on the tracks. If you go inside the challenge, you will see exactly the type of equipment that I are looking to make this fuel switch. Crushing automation with emphasis on the transport and tonnage speed. As I mentioned before, they are looking for this type of automotive process. And if you go inside here, you will see that they are looking for the speed that it will be connected between the main crushers and all the process backwards. The third one and the fourth one are more related to try to prevent damage on the pipes, on the pumps from, well, acid or also from caliche. And the last one is a real challenge one. It's from an underground company. They have all the sets of their equipment and they need to make, they need to move to another mine location. And they would like to know how with the current equipment that they have, they could make this change of management, not just for the equipment, also from the process, because they are going to be in a new operations with 55 degrees Celsius. I don't know if you have for any part of the process, because it is more focused on the underground equipments. But yes, there is an opportunity. At the moment, we didn't have any solution yet, at least from the other ones we have other. Well, from the platform, we make some projects, some initiatives. The main project that we have is a cluster of the south of Peru. This is to impulse an innovation pole, an innovation hub at the south of the country. We have the innovation program in our charge. And in the months of March and April, we're going to launch these open innovation calls. So I invite you to go to the cluster of the South Peru LinkedIn site and be aware about these new open calls that also are going to be interesting for you. But this one is really important for us. We have this initiative with METS Ignited and Ausmine, the Virtual Supplier Development Program. We make the first pilot the previous year. In this program participates Antamina, Hoshin Mining, and Goldfields from the innovation part. We present 6 challenges. These 6 supply opportunities, as we call it, were exclusive for Australian suppliers. So there's no way for another supplier from other parts of the world in this type of program or for these challenges to have the opportunity to listen to the mining users, to have the opportunity to make questions, to present their solutions. And I make focus on this program because it's not only for you, from the METS companies from Australia, because we are going to, we have one more challenge that is currently open. There is the construction and ventilation shafts in support of incompetent host rocks and low stability. This is a main issue for one of these 3 companies. It's not Goldfields, it's one of the other 2. So I could provide you the details of the slide. So you are going to be more, to have all the information that is here. But if you are interested in to offer a solution on this challenge in particular, please contact us between William, me, or also I saw Giancarlo Tosicrose from METS Ignited, that it's the right connector for this opportunity that we are working for this METS Ignited program. Well, again, thank you, William, from the opportunity to make this presentation. There you have my contacts. And for me, it's always a pleasure to talk about how to import the Australian technology to Peru.
Emilio, thanks so much for this great presentation and the valuable information on real opportunities in the market. It would be good if you could share the link to the Linkminers website and also your contact information in our chat option, so everybody can access it. And again, if any of you need to contact Emilio, please reach out to me. We are in constant communication and I can provide you information on any of the challenges. But again, Emilio, please just share the information that you're doing right now in the chat version. So,
I'm putting the contact.
Okay. So thanks again, Emilio, for this great presentation. So to finalize our presentation for today, I would like to introduce you again to Luis Rivera, who is the Executive Vice President of Goldfields for the Americas and also the past president of the Peruvian Mining Engineers Institute. So Luis, I leave the closing part of this presentation up to you. Emilio, I think you have to stop sharing so that Luis can start sharing his information.
Okay, thanks, William. And thanks to TIQ for this kind invitation to present Peru to this fine audience. And with no more delays, let me kick off, please. Okay, Peru is located, as you see in the map, is located on the Pacific coast of the South American continent, strategically well located in the Asia-Pacific domain. It is facing, this port, Peruvian ports are facing Australia, China, India, Japan, Korea, and they are not far from America, North America, the United States, as you see in the map. Peru is a very well open country to foreign markets with more than 20 commercial and trade agreements with different jurisdictions, including the Australia, the PAFTA, the agreements with the USA, with Europe, with Japan, China, one of the few countries that have an agreement with China, and as well is member of the Pacific Alliance that includes Chile, Colombia, and Mexico. Peru is one of the few countries in the region with an investment grade credit rating, as you can see on the table down below, with the rates provided by the different risk rating houses. The country risk remains the lowest of the region. It's 1.15, as you see in the bullet point there. As per the last JP Morgan report issued the last February. And after the dramatic decrease of 11.5% in 2020, as displayed by Ivonne, the expectations are that for 2021, this growth will be around 11.5% and 4% in 2022. But we have to keep in mind that Peru is a mining country. And mining contributes with more than 11% of the GDP and 63% of the export value. Peru, as you probably have seen in the internet, is recognized as one of the best mining jurisdictions in the world. And it is always very well ranked in the different existing mining surveys that you see in the bullet points there, including Fraser, Standard & Poor's, among others. This is mainly due to this geological endowment. As you see, Peru is the second world copper producer, the second silver world producer, the third thing, the third in lead, the first in tin, the second in bismuth, the first in bismuth sometimes. So it's always very well ranked in terms of production and in terms of reserves. And the mining deposits are all over the country, from the Pacific coast up to the high Andes, and even in the Amazon jungle, with the Brazilian border. Okay, but as so far as based on public information, based on official information, the mining portfolio so far is around $56 billion. Very well defined in 46 mining projects. We have additional slides to see those. But let's go to a specific mining activity, current mining activity, mining operation, mining production. And here you see, we'll see some production numbers in 2020. Also, the pandemic impacted, as mentioned by Ivonne, impacted in the mining activity. Peru was still able to produce more than 2.1 million tons of copper, more than 1.3 million tons of zinc, and almost 3,000 tons of silver. As well with the big numbers of lead and iron and other metals, as you see. Mining exports value decreased, impacted by the pandemic, by 11%, but still is above $22 billion. The impact of the pandemic was mostly on copper and gold. It is despite of the metal prices that we see good variations, specifically in gold in 2020. As well, as part of this pandemic, mining investment decreased by 29.6%, almost 30%, but still it was above the $4 billion. As you see in the slide down below, of mining investment, mine construction was the most impacted by the pandemic, almost 67% reduction on those activities. Okay. Let me move to the next slide. But before moving ahead, let me present you a few words about my company, Goldfields. Goldfields is a company listed in Johannesburg and in New York. It's the 7th gold producer. We have more than 9,000 employees. We operate and we do have projects in 4 continents. As you see in the map, our main production comes from Australia, where we produce more than 1 million ounces gold. And in Peru, in Americas, in Peru specifically, we operate the mine of Cerro Corona, where we produce more than 200,000 ounces of gold. We are now constructing the Salares mine in northern Chile, which will produce, in 2 years' time, will produce more than 400,000 ounces gold per year. Okay. Let me go back to Peru and to display the main mining operations. As you see here, in Peru, you find almost all the big mining houses. All the senior mining houses that we have in the world, they do have an office in Peru. Peru has been, in Peru, we have seen mining activities since the Incas stages, 1,000 years ago. And so far, that mining activity continues. You see there, I have included a few of those big operations. Antamina is a BHP, Glencore, and TEC and Mitsubishi open pit. It is almost a metal factory. It produces copper, almost 400,000 tons of copper per year, zinc, almost 500,000 tons of zinc, silver, almost 500 tons, molybdenum, among other metals. We have Antapacay, a Glencore operation in southern Peru, with producing copper as well and gold. We have Las Bambas, operated by the Australian Chinese company MMG, with the copper production above 300,000 tons of copper, plus molybdenum and gold and silver. We have the Cuajone Toquepala complex owned by southern Peru. It's a subsidiary of Grupo Mexico, with production above 400,000 tons of copper. They do have a big smelter and a big refinery in southern Peru. And we do have Cerro Verde. Cerro Verde produces, last year, due to the pandemic, reduced its production to 387,000 tons of copper, but normally it produces around 400. If we sum the cathode they produce, they could be easily above 500,000 tons of copper. Sometimes with that production, they became the second largest copper operation in the world after Escondida in Chile. But how about this mining itself? No, there is a mining ecosystem in Peru. As mentioned by Emilio, there are many other mining companies, but as well many other mining that supply the services that mining companies need, that supply the goodies, that supply the products that mining companies need. Probably you will recognize a few of the logos and brands. There we have a few Australian. So we do have big suppliers such as Caterpillar, Komatsu, Epiroc, among others. We have big contractors such as Bechtel, Fluors, etc. Big engineering houses like Senco, explosive supplier Orica, training and mining centers, big training and mining centers like TechSoup and Senari, the Peruvian educational institutes, highly reputable in Peru. We do have as well big associations and federations, such as the Mining Society and the Mining Peruvian Institute. And as well, we do work with through chambers, as the Australian Peru Chamber of Commerce, and Austrade, which is an office of the Australian government in Peru. Well, let me move to the next slide. Well, there is a parallel universe. We do have the mining operations, but we as well do have mining projects, essentially where we spend the capital. So mining investment, as mentioned earlier in the presentation, and based on information, in public information, The current mining portfolio of Peru is around $56 billion in 46 projects. 71% of these projects are essentially in copper, and 10% are in gold, and 9% are in iron. But essentially, these projects are focused on copper. Yeah, it does make sense. Copper is booming, and copper is the metal of the future. Copper is required for a green world, and that's the reason why I think mining companies are focused on copper. If we check the stages of these projects, as mentioned by William earlier, almost 50% of these projects are at a pre-feasibility stage, and 30% are feasibility stage. The balance are essentially at earlier stage, and we include some iron and phosphate there, but they are at earlier stages. These projects are located as well all over the country. You see there, many of these projects are located in the Pacific coast, close to ports, but as well many of others are located in the high Andes, between above 3,000 meters above sea level. Again, if we split the mining investment by type of project, 91% of these are greenfield, 36 projects, and 9% of these are brownfield. What it means for you, but it's METS, what it means that many of these projects will have to commence from scratch. They will have to construct access infrastructure. They will have to construct the mine pits or underground pits, as displayed in the graphic down below. They will have to construct process plants. They will have to construct camps. They will have to construct electric lines. They will have to construct everything because they are greenfield. The other 10%, the other 9% is brownfields. They are around the existing operations, and they will essentially represent expansions or optimizations. I will see in the next few slides. Okay, but let's shorten this view. Let's shorten these 46 projects down to the closest one. So we included in this slide only the next 5 years view, and in here we are including 13 projects. And these have been announced by the owners to be under construction and first metal in the next few years. So we are using official information as well. As you see, in here we have for the next 5 years of this universe of 56 billion, we have almost $12 billion secured. That will happen in the next 5 years until 2025. The list of these projects are down below in the bubbles. I will not read those, but this morning, Buenaventura Mining Company announced that they will kick off San Gabriel. It's an underground copper operation in southern Peru, and Rio Seco is as well a copper process plant in southern Lima. But how about the large projects, the other big projects that move the needle to the Peruvian economy? So I listed a few of those, 4 of those to be exact. So we do have Yanacocha Sulfurs is being announced by Newmont to be kicked off in 2021. They commence construction this year, and they're supposed to start production in 2024. The life of mine of this project is 22 years, as announced by Newmont, and the expected investment is $2.1 billion. They produce gold and copper. We do have Mina Justa as well, is owned by Breca, the Peruvian mining company, with some portion owned by the Chilean Copec. They are finishing construction, and they will start metal production in 2021, this year. The investment in that project was $1.6 billion. Toromocho expansion as well, it commenced back in 2018, and they will start production in 2022. The investment of this project is $1.3 billion, and this expansion, because this is a brownfield, there is a running mine there, Torre. This expansion is owned by the Chinese Chinalco. And the flagship of the Peruvian mining investment, Quellaveco. Quellaveco is owned by Anglo American and as the major shareholder, and with as well with Mitsubishi and other minor shareholders. The investment announced in this project is $5.3 billion. They started construction in 2018, and they will commence production, as announced by Anglo, in 2022. This is a long life project, long life mine, 34 years. But just to finish this, we would like to highlight that finally Peru is becoming a mature jurisdiction in terms of mining, mining jurisdiction. In 2019, sponsored by the Peruvian government, a task force was created with the participation of different branches, mining companies, academia, regional and local authorities, community leaders, NGOs, and they worked together for a few months. I had a seat in that table, and we produced what we call the vision for mining for 2030. As you see there, we finally have a statement, and that statement says that Peruvian in 2030, by 2030, the Peruvian mining will be inclusive, will be socially, environmentally, and territorially integrated within a framework of governance and sustainable development. By the time we'll have established it as a competitive and innovative activity, and will be highly valued by our society. As part of this process, in 2020, a Commission for Sustainable Mining Development was created by the government, and they confirmed the vision we had defined in 2019. And that commission proposed to work in 5 axes. So as you see there, they are listed in the slide. One of those axes is the social environment, because we have to reckon that we do have social challenges here. We have to work with the communities. We have to work with our surrounding neighborhood to secure the social license. This perhaps the main challenge that miners will have, and mining have and will have in Peru, and to secure our activities. Okay, thank you. You have a question, happy to respond.
Luis, thanks so much for this great presentation and very valuable information for us and for our Queensland companies. So again, thanks so much for participating with us. And we hope we have a next opportunity to continue discussing in more detail. Please, if you have any questions, we will happy to take them in the Q&A section of Zoom. Brendan, please support me on reading questions that are already up there.
Well, there's only 2, Bill, and one's in Spanish. So I might have to ask you to field that one, please.
You take the one in Spanish. I do the next one.
I don't think so.
He wants to know if we will share the presentation. So yes, we will.
The other question was, what is the driver for mining in Peru? Is it safety, cost reduction, smart mining, productivity? What are the principal drivers for mine operators in Peru, please, Luis?
Let me respond this in 2 ways. The first one, as a mining engineer. Yeah, as mentioned by Emilio, we do have challenges. To work in the high Andes is not easy, and it's not a flat terrain. We have challenges in terms of opening a pit, opening an underground operation. So in terms of technology, in terms of cost, in terms of efficiencies and productivity. So working at 4,000 meters ain't not easy. So we do have to fix those challenges. Even more now with this new trend to reduce carbon emissions. That is the new challenge. So we need to move ahead on those topics. But in parallel, the other big challenge in Peru is the social. Many mining companies are located around or in communities' land, and we have to deal with those communities. We have to deal with expectations, we gotta deal with their customs, we gotta deal with, and this is easy as long as we respect their customs, as long as we became friends, as long as we follow ethical behavior, that's easy. And many mining companies do it, but those are the two challenges, a soft one and a hard one, or a hard one.
Thank you very much, Luis. Another question from another one of our attendees today is about safety. And I guess the entire audience would be curious about the safety jurisdictions within Peru and whether it varies, if it's a nationalized scheme or whether it varies from province to province.
No, and Peru is what we call a unified country. So we do have only one single regulation for all over the country. It's one single jurisdiction. This is one. Second, in terms of safety and security, it's one of the best in South America. As you see, you can check that in the safety ratings or security ratings. That's what the question refers to. But as well as any other country in South America, we face some challenges in the cities in terms of security, but in terms of country risk, it's very low. Peru has been facing different kind of trends in our governments, but so far we have survived all of them, thanks to the open constitution we have and the open market situation, and especially thanks to the economy, our economy is open, and I gotta tell you, very informal, but that informality pushed the economy to be free.
Okay, thank you again. And Tim Haidt from NLT Global Digital. Our company is a rugged high-speed network solution for supply of communications and machine automation / remote control. I have a couple of systems starting, but leaky feeder networks have been dominant in Peru. Is there a larger push now to spend money to head this in a different direction? Leaky feeder networks.
I think Emilio can take that one.
Yes, actually, in the last virtual supplier development program that I mentioned before, we have a couple of challenges that were needed. These communication technologies, the connectivity technologies that would provide the solution. For example, there was a vitals monitoring challenge based on COVID-19, but also for safety issues, you were asking before. And this will not be able if they don't have the right connectivity technology. And the leaky feeders, for sure, they're ones that appears on the conversations as a possible solution to solve it.
Okay, very good, thank you. Mark Walter has asked, would you agree that Freeport Serra Verde is one of the leaders in Industry 4.0 integration?
Yeah, I don't have that information from inside Cerro Verde. They've been the leaders in Southern Peru in providing smart solutions to the activities, but I cannot properly respond that question. Maybe I'm not aware of that, but perhaps Emilio.
Well, from my side also, I don't have the data or the facts to say that yes, they are leaders on the 4.0 integration. But from my part, what I can say is that they are working on innovative solutions. Actually, they are part of two of the most important initiatives from the Peruvian mining ecosystem. There are the Peru Min Hub and also the mining cluster project that I mentioned before. And based on that, I know that they are also looking for the Industry 4.0 solutions.
Thank you very much. Another attendee has asked, many mining companies claim to be innovative, and now that the government has a 2030 strategy that included innovation, we all know that mining companies are typically in a race to be second. What is the real appetite for innovation investment, in your opinion?
First, from the governmental point of view, the Minister of Production, 3 years ago, started a program to foster these activities, to impulse these activities. So essentially in mining suppliers. So they are creating, or they are working with these mining suppliers, small, medium, or big mining suppliers, to promote the innovative developments, as mentioned by Emilio before, in terms of industrial mining 4.0, specific activities in communication, specific activities in remote access, specific activities in access into international information, etc. From the mining point of view, I represent a mining company. Yeah, we are hungry of of being more innovative. Not because we want or because it's nice, because we do need it. Without innovation, we'll be out of the market very soon. And this pandemic just confirmed that. If we had no remote control room, we 2020, we couldn't operate. But we had specifically Goldfields, and as far as I know, other mining companies, they did have, and they do have now remote control centers, and we could operate even from home. So it is happening.
Thank you. And I think we've got time for one more. This is from Guy. In terms of strategy, Codelco in Chile is looking to diversify suppliers by internalizing some suppliers, such as underground fortification meshes, meaning Codelco wants to supply these supplies to tunneling contractors and not the other way around. Do you think that this philosophy is gaining space in Peru? And have Linkminers received more of these kinds of requirements, for example? And how do Goldfields feel about this?
Well, from our part, definitely the philosophy of gaining space from Chilean companies, suppliers, and the minings, it's important for all. Innovation it's about collaboration. If you are going to looking for the diversify of the suppliers, for sure you need to have this mix from Peruvian suppliers, Chilean suppliers, Australian suppliers, and in Peru, for example, we are really good in terms of underground operations. It's something that every time that I talk with Chilean companies, I say we are looking for suppliers that have the experience in underground operations, for example. So yes, there is a space to keep collaborating, to keep sharing information, and this is from the challenges from the mines, but also from the solutions from the suppliers.
Yes, from Goldfields' point of view, yeah, we do believe in diversifying our suppliers. Yeah, it's based essentially on where the capacities are. If the capacities are located in Chile or in Australia, and they are cost effective, we bring them along. We don't. It doesn't matter. We try to develop local suppliers for sure. This is part of our mandate as well, but they have to be competitive. We cannot subsidize those activities. We can teach them, we can train them, but at the end of the day, they gotta compete in an open market with any other global company. It's tough, but it's the best way to move ahead in this vision that we defined in 2019.
And just to complement my previous answer, this type of challenges that you mentioned on the question, Guy, no, at Linkminers at the moment, we are not receiving that type of suppliers, of challenges or opportunities, but there are other type of underground challenges that we are receiving. So maybe this strategy that they are working at Codelco could come later to Peru, but at the moment I didn't see anything like this.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate your answering those questions. We do have a couple more, but I don't think time's going to allow it.
Yeah, I think so too. So again, I would like to thank everybody for attending this very interesting market briefing, and especially to our guests, Ivonne, Emilio, and Luis. Thank you for participating with us. You provided real and very valuable first-hand information on the mining market, and we hope to stay connected. If Emilio, please feel free to share your contact information with the group. Luis, again, thank you for sharing this presentation with us and also the use of your time. We know you're very busy, and we hope to stay connected with you for future activities. We will be promoting Trade and Investment Queensland a bit stronger in the market, so you learn about our capabilities and what our Queensland companies have to offer to the Peruvian mining market. So everybody, thanks for joining us today. Please remember, next week we will provide a briefing on Colombia, same time, same channel. So have a good rest of the day, and thanks again for participating and attending to this briefing. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ciao.